Thank you, Tara. So for those of you that, most of you do, but for those of you that don't, my name's Emma, and I'm from EC Rights. And what I do is I work with individuals across the Surrey, Sussex and Hampshire areas to help drive their engagement on Instagram, to convert their Instagram followers into website clicks, and obviously to generate warm leads.
Okay. Just what I'd mention, if you haven't already, I think you have, but if Karen, you could just make sure everyone's muted just as we now start. So yeah, as I mentioned, any questions you've got as and when they pop into your mind as we're running through the webinar, please feel free to write them in the comments box and we'll keep an eye on those and come to them at the end. So we shall get started. So Emma, if you kick us off with the benefits from your side of things.
Okay, so some of you may be thinking about starting an Instagram account, but you don't know what the benefits are for your business, or perhaps you are kind of sitting on the fence about it. So some of the benefits today that we're going to cover are just some of the basics. There are, of course, many, many more. So the first one is it gives you a personal human side to your business. And the reason for that is because by being able to go on video, you're able to build a human connection with people. And obviously that in turn is going to put a face to your business, which is very, very important because that enables you to differentiate yourself against your competitors. And of course, by going on video and sort of using call to actions in your captions, asking questions, they're going to enable you to increase interaction with your followers, which is so, so important because that in turn helps you increase your engagement. Now, of course, the other thing is you're able to share your story. And some of the ways you can do that is you can talk about, you know, why you launched your business, what inspired you, who you are, who you help. So it's a great way to kind of let people see what's going on behind the scenes and to learn more about you. Now, in terms of behind the scenes, you might think about sharing your portfolio. If you are a graphic designer like Tara, you might think about introducing some of your team members or kind of talking about a project that you're working on. And by doing that, that's going to help you to build trust. And obviously that's really important because I don't know about you guys, let me know in the comments, but I personally like to buy from people that I know and trust. So over to you, Tara.
So as you probably can see, Emma's covering the main functionalities of Instagram. She's got lots of expertise in how Instagram works and how to set up and the differences and everything about that. Where we come together to collaborate, my side is more on the visual side, making sure that you're promoting your brand at the same time as making sure you're using Instagram to benefit your business. So from my side of things, the benefits of using Instagram for your business is a great opportunity and another opportunity for you to extend your brand awareness. So if you're doing this through other social media platforms, then that's great. And I do know Instagram is always one of those that people are a bit unsure whether to start using or not, or they maybe feel a bit nervous about it. But already the benefits that Emma's gone through have kind of shown that it is a great platform. But from a brand perspective and increasing that brand awareness and linking to, obviously already mentioned, but building the trust, it's building the trust to your brand as well as you as an individual. So for your work, it's a very visual platform. So this can showcase your work in a very visual way, which is great. It might be that you are in an industry that you're unsure how that might work for your business. So maybe accountancy or financial maybe, and you maybe don't actually have a product to photograph and share. But the great way that you can then use Instagram to benefit your business is by visually sharing top tips, and as Emma's already said, share the team, share updates, showcase expertise. So all linking together to build a stronger brand identity. It reaches a different audience, and also it allows you to showcase your services and your products. So it's definitely one to consider looking into. It's just about overcoming how you use it to benefit the business, which you'll obviously find a lot more about as we move on to the webinar. The other thing I will mention is it is always seen as potentially a younger audience platform, but we are seeing that it is increasing to being used across all age ranges. I think a lot more people are flurrying to the use of Instagram and seeing the benefits of using it and connecting that way. So definitely not just for the younger audience, and certainly something to consider.
So in terms of setting up your account, so this is, even if you have an account, perhaps you haven't already optimized your bio, so still feel free to listen to this because you might learn something new. So your bold headline at the top here, this is searchable. So if you are an accountant and you're based in the Surrey area, you might want to put that in here, because as soon as somebody goes into the search bar and types that in, you're going to pop up straight away, and that's going to be another way that you can tap into an audience that is not already following you. The next thing down here, you need to make it really clear who it is you're helping. So you got to imagine that this person doesn't know anything about you whatsoever. Now, don't simply list your services, because they're not gaining anything from that. So instead, take your services and think about, what do they gain from those services? Are they saving time? Are you helping them to find their dream holiday? Are you saving them money? Which 9 times out of 10, everybody wants to save money these days. We spend so much of it. So if you can help someone to save money, let them know in the top half of your bio. And also, always use a call to action. So always say what you want them to do. Do you want them to check out your latest blog post? Do you want them to work with you? Do you want them to sign up to your latest podcast? Whatever it is, put it here and include the link. Now, this link here, some of you may know what it is, some of you may not. Now, Milkshake, what it is a third party. You may have also heard of Linktree, which I know a lot of businesses use. I personally like to recommend Milkshake. It is a free app. It doesn't cost money. So obviously, the way in terms of, you can put your own images and so forth in, but the templates itself are quite basic. But what it enables you to do is to include multiple links, because on Instagram, obviously you can only put one link here. So it enables you to link to your website, link to your latest blog post, any other social handles such as Twitter, LinkedIn and so forth. But what I would say, when you're using your call to action above, always make sure, instead of putting new blog posts, actually say what you want them to do. So say, read my blog post, make it really clear what you want them to do. The other thing is, yeah, always think about the end of the door. Already done that. Right, so the next thing over here, you've got your business and personal. Now, I know some of you are thinking about using Instagram for business purposes, and yet you have started with a personal account. So what I'm going to do is explain to you some of the benefits of using business over personal. So obviously, you do need to have a minimum of 100 followers to be able to tap into your insights. But once you have access to your insight, that's going to enable you to actually ascertain who's following you. So are they male, female, what age bracket they fall into, which is going to be really useful to you to actually be able to look at your target audience and understand them a bit more. And also, it's going to enable you to work out what is the best time for you to post, because you don't need to post on your grid every single day. You can post every other day. But by going onto your insights, you can look at the hours and the days, only use it as a guide, so it's nothing set in stone, because it's kind of based on the previous week's projections, so forth. But what it enables you to do is to work out, should I be posting on Monday, Tuesday, to post every other day, pick out 3 to 4 days that are the highest. Now, if you also tap on the bar chart, it will bring up the number for you for each individual thing. Now, I can obviously talk about that a lot more, but if you want me to cover that, let me know, and I can always do a separate webinar. Now, the contact option, this is really okay. So I will answer that for you at the end for you, Mark, no problem at all. Let me know what it is about it that you don't understand. I'll answer that at the end. So contact options. Now, obviously, that again is like a call to action button. So if you want people to phone you, email you, you're going to have the options. Brilliant, that's great stuff, Nikki. You're going to have the options to be able to include those. And of course, if you want to promote a particular service, you're going to be able to do that as well. So that's just some of the basics of setting up your account. Now, the next thing is stories versus highlights. Some of you may already know this, some of you may not, so I'm going to cover it. Now, stories typically last 24 hours and they can be informal. So I say to people, look at stories as like a daily vlog. So don't think about it too much. If you are on this webinar now, that's a good opportunity for you to take a picture and to tag the relevant tag both myself and Tara, tag anybody else that you want to tag that's on this webinar with us. It's a really good way to showcase what you're doing. It could be behind the scenes, it could be, you could be going on a walk, but if your audience likes those kind of things, that can make it more relatable. Now, down here, you have highlight covers. So if you start off with content pillars, which is, I'll explain what content pillars are very quickly. They are a subset of topics or themes. So if you are a travel agent or working in the travel industry, your content pillars could be packing tips, travel updates, destination guides. If it's fashion, then it might be that you colour psychology, events, wardrobe edits. And if you're doing things like accountancy or IT, it may be that you cover things like IT tips. You might talk about the latest phone system that you're sharing, or all that technical stuff that my husband will understand because he's in IT, but goes way over my head. So yeah, there are a couple of the things that you can share. And another thing that's really good that everybody can do, regardless of what industry you're in, a weekly series. Now, this is something I've mentioned to a couple of my clients, actually. So now you can go two routes with this one. You can either talk about like a weekly overview of some of the key projects or portfolios you've been working on, or you can share some of your favourite accounts within your industry and support other local businesses, which is going to be really good for you because you're supporting local businesses. It's going to make you look good. You're helping somebody else, and there's always a chance that they will appreciate that and share that on their feed, which is going to put you in front of another audience. Which leads me to my next point. You're only able to save 100 videos or images with each of these highlights. So don't save every single thing that you do on your stories. Just pick out a key thing. Now here, you might want to share things like testimonials, feedback from clients, which will actually tie in with some of the stuff that Tara's going to be covering, because there's a way that you can present that. Now, very quickly, again, hashtags. You can go on and on about hashtags. There's loads of different ways. So this is just the very sort of tip of the iceberg, but if you want more information, let me know. Now, hashtags, I always say to people, use 30 hashtags for each post, which if you look here, you'll be able to see. Now, that is a lot of hashtags. It looks a bit spammy. So if you put that in the caption, it's not going to look very nice. So what I tend to say to people is put it in the first comment, purely because it looks a lot neater. It makes your caption a lot easier to read, more clear and concise. And the other thing is, why are you using 30 hashtags? Now, 30 is the maximum you can use on Instagram. So Instagram wants you to use 30 hashtags. So look at it, I always say this and people always laugh, but look at it as 30 lottery tickets, 30 chances to win that prize, 30 chances to put yourself in front of another audience. And don't use the same hashtag set for every single thing. Can you see me okay, Tara? Because I'm pausing on the video there.
Can see you, but I was going to mention at the end of this slide, because it's when I move on to my next, but your volume is a little bit in and out. I can make out exactly what you're saying, but there's just a little bit of interference that I can hear. But generally it is pretty good. It's just every now and again, so I don't know where your mic is or if there's something on, it just dips out in and every now.
Okay, if I sit here, is that better for you?
That's working perfect.
Probably because I'm moving back and forth.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. Can you hear me better now, Rachel? Yeah, okay, I'll sit here. Sorry. Yeah, so yeah, don't use the same hashtag sets every single day, because Instagram will think that's spam and you'll get shadow banned. Now, shadow ban is kind of another word or another way to say blacklisted. If there's anything I've said that you've not heard, and you want me to go over, I'm basically covering each point. But if you want me to go over anything that you've not heard, let me know and I can cover it at the end. But yeah, basically use 30 hashtags, put them in the first comment, and if you want to know why you need clarification, I'm happy to answer that in a free discovery call for you. So over to Tara now.
Thank you. And at this point, I will just remind you that if any of that bit that we've just gone through, you have any questions, make sure you pop them in the chat and we can come to them. It might be that we cover them as we work through the webinar. And as mentioned at the start of this webinar, it is an overview of Instagram and using it for your business. So there are some bits that we are covering as snippets. But what our aim is off the back of this webinar is to find out what businesses want to know more of, and maybe if they need step-by-steps, and there will be an opportunity at the end for you to give us feedback on further webinars that you may be interested in more detail, and that will be great to hear that from you, and then we can provide that information. So moving on to brand identity, and again coming onto the visual side for using an Instagram for your business. First and foremost, the question is do you have a brand identity already? Does it already exist? And are you sticking to it? This almost comes with a rule book. So we call them brand guidelines. They can be this thick, or they can just be that one page like you can see on the screen just there. And that is basically giving you the key bits of information that you should be sticking to if you're promoting your business following having a logo and a brand created for you. Some of the simple things that this can include will be the colours, the key colours that you can use. And this doesn't have to just be one or two colours that you stick to, although that is also very possible. You might then have sub colours that you use, but the idea is that you then don't go off of those, because if you want to start building consistency within marketing your business, you need to follow that pattern. The other key thing that we see a lot of businesses doing, especially that create their own content, is jumping from font to font. And again, this can make a big impact. It can look a little bit messy, it can look a little bit unprofessional, and also if not done right, just generally not give that right impression, and again you'll lose that brand consistency. So my key things for you to make sure that you do if you're going to be doing this yourself is stick to your colours and know your colours, and then stick to the fonts and use them on a consistent basis. And they're some of the key simple things that you can use yourself to really make sure that you start building up that brand consistency. Obviously it can go to layers and layers a lot further, but definitely something that you can be mindful of. So first and foremost is, do you have that brand identity initially? And if you don't, that might be something for you to obviously look into having created, so you can start building that brand awareness. This goes further than just Instagram. Obviously, it's across all marketing materials, but at the end of the day, you want somebody to click onto, whether it be your website, your Instagram page, a brochure, a physical brochure they pick up, and they know that it's come from the same business. So using that within your Instagram profile, some of the key things to note is something that gets asked is, shall I have my profile picture as my logo or a picture of myself? Instagram is very relatable. So seeing a face is kind of, you're ranked up quite high for that. However, I would always suggest that if you want to use it to increase the brand and it's a company, you've got multiple team members, and you want to come across as a company and not just an individual, I would always suggest using the profile picture as your logo, as this will be seen in multiple places. Like if you were to comment on somebody's post, if you were to share something, and just generally wherever you're using your Instagram, the profile picture will be what is next to the comment and the message. So definitely consider using the logo as the profile picture. And if you're a one-man band or something that you want to build one-to-one trust a relationship with, then there's nothing against using a profile picture for that. Then the colours, that you use, this can transform through to multiple different ways on your profile. So if you this is often overlooked, you actually do have a profile on Instagram. It's not just a one-off post that you put up and they kind of appear that way. If someone clicks on to view your account, they'll see the profile, like you can see in that middle image just there, and that profile can look a certain way, or which could be positive or negative on your brand, depending on the actions that you take when posting. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. So how you can use your brand within that profile, we've already spoken about the profile picture, obviously the word and things that you use in the bio description, but then you've got the highlights there at the bottom, which Emma's already covered, but you get the opportunity to put a graphic on those two. And when you click onto the profile, you see all of that, and then underneath you then see your grid. So putting them all together as we move further into the webinar, you'll see how they can come together to create that brand awareness. And if you clicked on mine, say, you clicked on Emma's and you clicked on somebody else's, you would definitely see that difference. And that's what you want. You want to stand out and create that awareness for your business. So something that you can have control over, and it can be done in a slightly more complicated way, or it can be done in a way that you can control yourself in quite an easy way once you get your head around it, is the grid. So we talked about that profile as you click on it, but the grid itself, there's certain different things that you can do to make it look really smart, really on brand, stand out. And there's various different factors that can contribute towards that. We've talked about having graphics and things created, and we'll talk a lot more about that moving forward, but that can obviously play a part. I've just given some examples here of different ways that you can organise your grid. And when I say organise, I don't mean physically move the images that you've already posted around, because Instagram doesn't allow you to do that. It's about the order that you post in. So say you posted today, the weekend, and next week, they would appear on your grid in that order, and you won't be able to change that around. So talking about it in a more simplistic way, the checkerboard effect on the right hand side just there, the way that that has been created is that a graphic has been posted, then an image, then a graphic, then an image, and as you post and it appears, you'll see it start appearing that way. That's a really nice simple way for you to keep track of yourself. If you've got some graphics that you've created, and then you've got the photography that you use or you're taking of your product services, you can just alternate between the two. You've then got use of photography a little bit further, and this is all linking to branding. And I always say that branding isn't just your logo, and this just goes to prove this. So the two in the middle are both using photography only, but you can see the difference and the impact that they've made. It's the style of images that have been taken. You've got the one on the left hand side, which is really clean, crisp, neutral, and simplistic and modern, and then you've got the one on the right which explores and uses colour on a consistent basis. And as you can see that being built up, they're starting to build that visual awareness and brand identity, which if they had blue in their brand, you would then be able to relate that and see that working really well. The other way that you can do it is play around with graphics that you potentially are using and imagery. And again, you can just use graphics alone as well and do the pattern that way. So say you had one with a pink background that maybe posted a quote, and then one with a blue, and then one with a pink, one with a blue. You can do the same thing. So whatever your business is presenting and using, just think about a way that you can create a pattern there, and you can go complicated with it, or you can start off very simple and then use that on a regular basis. It also helps structure how you put together content and the ideas that you might want to post on your Instagram as well for your business. You can help create that structure, because you know that each week you need to do 4 posts. 2 of them are going to be an inspirational quote, 2 of them are going to be a photo of the nails, for example, that I've done this week. Thinking of beauticians potentially. Again, I could talk a lot more about grids and graphics and things like that in more detail, but just giving a little bit of an insight and something that you could take away from today. So then moving on to using design further into your profile, I've just taken a snippet of mine just there, and this kind of demonstrates what I've kind of covered just before, where I've got the profile picture which clearly shows our logo, and you can see that, and everywhere I post that you'll see that it's the abstract logo. The bio has been optimized with the help of Emma, and then the highlights, I've got a graphic which is designed consistently with the graphics that we use in the business, which you can see just there sits underneath. You can see it's all from the same business. And then the types of graphics that I would post on the grid alongside photos as well. You've got the graphics there that only use our brand colours. How I do it is I use all three colours, and I do the same thing where I do image, graphic, but I go that step further where I will use all three colours as well. So this is where I'm saying you can use it and make it very complicated, or you can start off very simplistic. I would always advise just starting simple and then doing it consistently so it looks really professional, and you can actually continue to use that on a regular basis to make an impact. So some of the things that you can use design for is obviously your logo, your profile picture, the highlights, the post that you put up, and then taking that bit further, which you don't see on the profile and Emma's already covered, but the graphics can be created and used within your stories as well, which is really, really effective. On to Emma. Oh, Emma, I think you're muted.
That's very bizarre. Sorry about that. So very quickly, before we get into content building, a couple of things I just want to mention. With your Instagram bio, some of the things I've noticed people doing, which I would advise you not to do, is don't put hashtags in your bio unless it's your own personal hashtag, because what that would do is take people away from your Instagram account. And the other thing, Tara mentioned earlier about obviously doing the grid layout. There are apps out there that will help you to preview your posts before you put it onto Instagram. So there are other things you can do to help you make sure that you get that effect or desired effect. But that's just a quick thing. In terms of content building, one of the things you can do is put up flat lays to help you showcase your offerings. Can you still hear me okay, yeah? Yeah, okay. So flat lays, a lot of people will say, what is a flat lay? For those of you that don't know, it's very, very simple. It's literally just a group of items that you place on a flat surface and arrange in a aesthetically pleasing manner, so it's visually appealing to your audience. So it's a pretty basic thing that anyone can do. And I would say to you, if you're trying to showcase things like nail designs, for example, you might want to use some colourful backgrounds, or if you want to show your nails, experiment. It's not a flat lay as such, but experiment against the background. So you might have flowers, you might have marble. So think about your backdrop. Now, in terms of behind the scenes, as I mentioned earlier, people buy from people they trust. Behind the scenes, regardless of what industry you're in, is so important for helping you to build that trust. Now, you may wish to show things you're working on, you may wish to show nail designs. Another thing you could do is, we're obviously coming out of this whole lockdown thing, so what are you doing for your customers to help them? Rachel, I know you're in the beauty industry, so you could talk about some of the measures you've actually put in place to make them feel safe. And for anyone that's kind of doing accountancy or IT, think about what services have you provided through lockdown. Now, we don't know obviously whether we're going to get another wave, so maybe let people know that in the event that happens, there are different things that they can implement between now and then to make their business more robust. It will help you to differentiate yourself, and it will help people to trust you. It's all about addressing their needs. The next thing is create a weekly series. That's something I already touched on earlier. So Rachel, you may do a weekly series of some of the nail designs you've done. For other people, it may be you might share a few fashion looks, style looks. You may want to share a couple of your favourite travel destinations. There's loads of different ways you can do a weekly series, but the idea of it is to pick one day, and every single day, so every Tuesday you might do Tuesday tips, so technical tips if you're in IT, you might do trainings. So you pick one day a week, and then every single Tuesday or every Friday you repeat that theme. And it's a really good way, if you struggle with content ideas, that's a really good way to produce content, because you'll never run out of an idea with that. Now, a carousel is actually really good for displaying results, but it's also a really good way to break information down. So technical industries, so service-based, not product, they might think, well, how is Instagram relevant to me? It's actually a really good platform for educating your audience, because a lot of the time people hesitate to buy simply because they don't understand what it is they're buying. So by creating a carousel, you can actually break it down. You can do more than one image, and you can break it down for them. And if you actually speak to Tara, I'm sure she could help you to create really nice graphics that actually present those facts as well. The other thing is obviously doing Instagram live streams and stories. Now, I know a lot of people hate live streams because it's very daunting jumping on and talking to people you don't know. But there is actually a setting on Instagram whereby, and I'm happy to show you, whereby you can literally film yourself for a few seconds, put in some captions and post it. So you're not live, but you're still talking to your audience. That's a really good way to help you build your confidence. Now, interactive polls are a really good way for you to find out what it is your audience is enjoying. So if you're thinking, what do I post? What does my audience like? Do a poll. Say to them, do you want to see more nail design? Do you want to see more travel guides? Do you want some tips on how to solve your IT issues? Whatever it is, ask people. That's the best way to find anything out, is to ask them. Create shareable content. So create quotes that people can share that's relevant to your industry. Have a bit of humour. You know, yes, it's your business, but don't be afraid to have a bit of fun with it. And obviously, eye-catching graphics are so important, but you need to do it in a consistent manner. So you can either do that by obviously using the colours, as Tara mentioned, and the font, or you can have a feed where you switch between the two. Branded quotes is a really good way to do that. And I actually know somebody that by doing the carousel and using animals to present facts, it gave them a really unique selling point. It helped them to stand out. So think outside the box. Don't simply copy what your competition is doing. Think, how can I be better? How can I have fun with it? Bring your personality to it, because that's going to help you to stand out. And that's pretty much it for content building, but that's just the basics. So I'll put you over to Tara now.
So yeah, what we find is that generally any social media usage, the reason why people either do it and post every day for 2 weeks and then stop doing it for 2 months, or that they don't start doing it at all, is that they get a block on what content to share. So obviously Emma's gone through quite a lot of different ideas there of things that you could potentially consider using for your business, your industry, what potentially your audience may like. But just some of the tips from my side. One really easy, simple way, which is effective in multiple different ways for your Instagram and your business, is using content that you already have. So hopefully, and I would have thought most people do, they would have received testimonials from clients in some way or another, whether this is featured on your Google reviews, whether it's that you've been sent emails of happy customers sharing testimonials with you, or whether you've got them on your Facebook, for example, where people leave reviews. This is content that you already have. So if you're really, really stuck and you just want to start off by creating 10 posts of client testimonials, then you can do this straight away by using content you already have. So take the client testimonial, copy it onto a post, whether it is just a on-brand coloured background that you put the content on using the correct font, and that's the most simple way of starting to do that, or have some templates created like the ones just down the bottom there, which you can then use. There's different apps that you can use to update this as well. One of the most known ones is Canva. While I don't rate necessarily Canva to create your own graphics, if you're unsure on how to do it, you don't follow your brand guidelines, you haven't got the time, the worst thing is to spend 3 hours creating one graphic when actually you've got the the different roles in your business to do. So maybe consider investing, getting those templates created. However, there is functions and different apps and things out there to help you, but really consider and think about it seriously. Can you do it properly? Is it going to represent your brand properly? And have you got the time to do it? If you do, then just make sure you're doing it consistently, professionally, and you're actually proud to post that up on your page and then use it on an ongoing basis. And then if you've got that, that's a really great place to start. And that is just taking customer testimonials. And even if you use that and then posted an image and you did that kind of a couple of times a week and you did it consistently, you'd start to build up that really professional looking grid, and your profile of your Instagram page will already start off and look really, really professional. So it's a great place to start. So then moving on to kind of how else you could potentially look to create and use graphics. Think of the different ways that you can share your expertise. And I know Emma, again, has already covered some examples of this. But again, coming into those industries that maybe think that Instagram isn't the platform for them, it is really a good place for you to stand out if you think you are in an industry that it isn't the place for you, because you're building up that trust, you're showing who's behind the business, you're showcasing your expertise. And some examples of that are kind of just encouraging people to get in touch, visit your website, here's our top tips, you can do it as a campaign. So again, you've got something to follow. Here's 20 myths that are in our industry that we're going to bust, and then you kind of work through one of those each week, for example. Inspirational quotes is a great one. Did you knows, special offers. So I think it's really great to combine the two together. So give a lot to your audience, but also then make sure you're putting out there that your audience then can take action and actually buy from you, because this is essentially what everybody does marketing for, obviously, is that you actually then get a result. So yes, you want to build that awareness, you want to build up that engagement, but you also then want to get results from using all these platforms for your business. So make sure you're then putting in there some offers, or this is how we help our clients, or message to sign up to this, or take advantage of a special offer. And then again, it's a great way to share client work, happy clients, and testimonials. And if you do have a product, sharing that product. Not only that, if you don't have a product and maybe you are an accountant or you're an insurance company, for example, then it could be that you use the top tip that Emma's mentioned about the weekly series, that every Friday you share how you've helped a client, for example. You could do that over video, or you could just have an image of that client's business card, or some paperwork linked to that, obviously not GDPR linking, but something visual that you can then write up a case study of what client you've helped and how you've helped them that week. And that could be really, really useful to stand out, build that connection. So seeing it all come together. So as we've mentioned, we've gone through quite a lot here, which is a really big overview of how to use Instagram for your business. We completely understand that if you're not a frequent user of Instagram, it might be a little bit of a minefield there, but hopefully it's given you an overview of some of the things that either you can start doing from today, know that you need to learn more about, know that you need help with, or actually that you can really start to increase the way you're already using your Instagram to make sure it's at its best and actually representing your business the way you want it to do. So we've kind of overcome and gone over the fact that you need a brand to begin with, and if you don't, then that's definitely somewhere you need to start. Have those brand guidelines in place that you then can follow for all marketing moving forwards, but particularly if we're talking about Instagram, that you can follow and use those fonts and colours for a start. Making sure that you're then bringing that together for your grid and the profile. So if someone clicks onto your profile, you then see it all come together, look professional, represent your business. And on the right hand side there, you can start to see. So Emma talked about an app that you can lay out the grid and see what it looks like. So on the left hand side, Emma's profile is there where she's definitely using the right content, she's using the right colours, she's using the graphics that she's been given. But moving over to the right hand side is where she's starting to increase that even more so. So she's going to create a pattern that all down the middle she's going to be giving content using the template she's had created, and then she's got her on brand imagery that she's got a certain style that is becoming her brand identity, and she'll post it in that order so she can start to build that pattern. So if someone clicks onto that profile page, it looks really professional, eye-catching, and you can clearly see it's from that same business. So as a whole, hopefully that's helped kind of give that overview. Definitely consider all the content tips that have been given, and consider how you can start increasing the way that your profile on Instagram looks. And if you haven't got an Instagram page, then hopefully this has inspired you that it actually could be a platform for you to start using. And what we'll do is definitely, if there's any more questions that come to you now's the time to write them in the comments box. So we'll come to them in just a second. Emma, I don't know if you at this point have got anything else to conclude on before I just do the summary at the end.
Yeah, so one of the things I was going to say actually was, for the people that don't know whether Instagram is right for them, so they're sitting on the fence, if you have a website and you have access to analytics, what you can actually do is go onto your website analytics, look at the demographics. So if they're younger, then chances are they will use Instagram. And also look at where's your traffic coming from. Now, I actually did this for one of my clients yesterday and realised that for them, Facebook's actually better for them. So they need to be focusing more on Facebook. Now, obviously, if you don't have an Instagram platform, then you're not going to know unless you try it. But you can have a look at your demographics. You can look at your audience. And again, if you're on Facebook, why not ask your audience? Why not say to them, are you on Instagram? It's a really good way to work it out before you do it.
That's a great top tip. There's lots to obviously consider and see where your audience sits, and then how you can definitely benefit from that. So just coming to conclude how we can further support you, before then definitely answering some of your questions, and all of them if we can. Emma, did you want to just say how you can further support anybody if they want to reach out?
Okay, so the first thing I do is I do a free discovery call, and what I do in that is I kind of cover the basics, but I tailor it more to you. So you can ask me any questions that you have, and obviously I will cover an overview of, like, this is what I can do to help you. And the other thing is, for a limited time only, I'm only doing it till the end of July, but I'm doing an ebook for £15. So if you do want one, it is only till the end of July, so you have to be quick. Now, obviously, if you have any questions, or maybe you know somebody that needs Instagram help, feel free to give them my email address. Feel free to drop me a message. You know, I won't bite. And you can ask me absolutely anything. No question is a stupid question, so ask me anything that you're not sure about.
And then on my side of things, I've been doing this since the start of lockdown anyway, for businesses that want some inspiration, maybe are looking to have that brand review, maybe they want to look to rebrand, they've done a lot of reflection on this. The Think Outside the Box is a session that you can book if you've got a bit of a creative block, you don't know how to promote your business during this time, you don't know how to adapt and how to really market. I think I saw a video earlier today actually that someone was mentioning that as we've gone through the whole different phases of obviously the impact of COVID-19, now's certainly not the time to take the foot off the pedal. Yes, things are starting to be releasing, but actually you need to be continuing as much as you were marketing. So if you need any creative support or advice on how potentially you could look to do that, feel free to book a Think Outside the Box. And then a customer journey review, how we approach design so businesses can get results is how you focus on attracting, converting and retaining clients as a whole, so the whole customer journey. So if you want to review that and discuss that further, then feel free to book one of those. So they're free. I'll send the Calendly link there and you can book yourself into one of the slots available. And then special offer I'm doing for anyone that's attended any one of these 2 webinars is, I've talked a lot about the social media templates, and I truly believe that if you've got the templates there ready to go and start to use, to then adapt yourself onto the likes of Canva, you can really then make it a lot easier to use them on social media. So we'd normally usually charge over £150 plus VAT for that. We're going to do them for £99 plus VAT if you order before the end of July. So feel free to reach out and let me know about that. So we'll go on to the questions, because I believe we've potentially got quite a few. It'd be great to answer as many of them as we can. So Karen, would you like to let us know what questions we have?
Yeah, sure. So Bryony has asked, I think this was touched on earlier on, but how many sets of hashtags do you advise rotating on posts?
Yeah, so I think, Emma, you covered that, didn't you? You said 30 hashtags, because that's the maximum that you can use.
Yeah.
And
so it needs to be 30 hashtags to kind of maximize your chances, but don't. So there's different ways you can create a hashtag set. So you want to be using a mixture of medium, large and small. And if you're sort of sitting there thinking, what do I do? Think about the style of image. Is it a flat lay? Is it a portrait? Think about your industry you work in. Are you in photography? Are you in beauty? Think about your location. Now, if you have access to insights, you'll be able to view your top 5 locations, so where your audience is predominantly from. So believe it or not, if your audience is based in Guildford and you want to get in front of them, think about using the Guildford hashtag. So there's loads of different ways. I can do a separate webinar on that. But yeah, I would advise to do 30. And as a GIF, look at, so when you put in, say, beauty in the search bar, it will bring up loads of different hashtags. There'll be a number underneath it that will tell you how many posts are within that hashtag. The larger the number, not necessarily better. It means you're going to have more competition. The smaller the number, obviously you're not going to get in front of as many people. To bear that in mind when you're thinking about the sizes that you're using.
Okay, and another question from Bryony. Would you advise posting quotes or motivational pictures that aren't necessarily relevant in order to boost engagement on your page?
I think it needs to be relevant either to your industry or it needs to speak to your audience. So what you can actually do is look at your comments, look at that this comes back kind of to your brand identity. Think about the tone of voice you're using, and that's very much in your language as well, because obviously you can't necessarily speak to them unless you go on video. So think about, if you are marketing to a professional, then be very mindful of the fact that there are certain language and subjects that might not be appropriate. So I would try and keep it professional. It can be fun. If it's something that can make people laugh, that's great. People like to have a laugh, especially on a Friday evening when they're unwinding from work. But maybe just be mindful that it needs to try and somehow either be relevant to them or something that they can relate to. It needs to have some kind of strategy behind it.
Yeah, and I think a great one for sort of small, medium-sized businesses is the whole positivity, small business support.
Yeah.
That's a great one if you want something to kind of pull on of what quotes to do that maybe aren't industry specific, then local business, buy local, that sort of
yeah, definitely.
It's a good one to focus on.
Okay, and again, I think this one was touched on. Bryony said, should I be posting at the same time each week so followers know when to expect my post, or keep it random but post when insights suggest more engagement? So
there is actually 2 things you can do. You don't necessarily post at the same time every day. So look at your insights as a guide. But one of the things you can actually do is, if you go to, let me just get this up on my phone quickly. If you go into your Instagram app, and if you go to the house icon, at the top you've got your story. If you then click on the plus within your story, swipe across to where it says live, at the very top you will be able to see how many people are live at that very moment in time. So I can see at the moment I've got 63 followers active on my account right now. And that's on my EC Rights one. So that's a really good way. Obviously, the higher the number, the more chance your content's going to go in front of your audience. But something to bear in mind is your content doesn't get shown to every single person that's following you. It only gets shown to a small percentage. And within the first 15 minutes of posting, depending on whether that post performs well, so whether you get likes and comments and so forth, determines how many more people get to see it. If you only get 3 likes, then chances are the post is not going to be successful. So the way you can drive engagement, 15 minutes after, the first 15 minutes after posting, go and just comment and like on a couple of posts that are either using that hashtag or within your industry, but make sure it's an authentic comment, so not great post. If you want to make it more personal, use their name. You can often find that in the bio, so say great post Gemma or whatever, or answer any questions that they ask, because that means a lot to people, and it's about making genuine connections.
Another question?
Yeah, sorry, following on just from that one, Richard's just typed in, how do you do that again, Emma? So I think.
Or the live, seeing how many people are live, I think that might be.
How do you see how many people are live, did you say?
I think so. Richard, did you want to clarify that?
Yes, please, Emma. I was trying to follow you and I kind of got lost, so I'm in my profile now.
So you get your Instagram app up on your phone. If you open it up, you'll have icons along the bottom. Can you see a little black house at the bottom? Yeah. If you click on that, that'll bring like your feed, and then you'll have little circles at the top going across the top. Your story will be on the left hand side at the top. If you click on that, there'll be another little circle at the top with a plus. Yeah, and then if you swipe it across, so if you, it will get live at the bottom. Can you see the live?
So they all the followers?
It will tell you how many followers are at the top.
I can't see a live.
So swipe the other way, because you might have swiped the wrong way.
No, I think so. You probably got the same as me, Richard. So at the bottom, you will see that you've got live, create, normal, boomerang. They're like in small writing right at the bottom of that.
Yeah.
If you go and click through to make sure you end up on live. Maybe.
Or coming up with a live.
Okay, what we can do, Richard, if you'd like, is I can go on a call with you and I can show you how to do that. I can share my screen with you on a Zoom session and actually show you. That might
That'd be good.
easier.
That'd be good. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah.
No problem. So yeah, any more questions?
Yeah, plenty. So Tina has asked, is it possible to get the charts? I'm assuming, Tina, you mean the slides from this Instagram presentation. They will be being emailed out to everyone at the end, along with the survey and the video. Mark has asked, has said that he's not sure he understood the role of the milkshake app.
Okay, yeah. So basically, at the top of your bio, you will have a link there, and most people put their website. It may be something else, but on Instagram, you can only put one link, unfortunately. So if you wanted to get people to drive people over to different platforms, it may be you want them to look at a particular blog post. It may be that you want them to check out your Facebook Live, share podcasts, go to your Twitter, say, then obviously that's going to take more than one link. So what the milkshake app enables you to do is post one link in your bio, but as soon as they click on it, it then brings up those different options. Again, that's something that I can always cover in a session and actually show you if that's of any help to you.
Okay. Mark's also said, can you go back in and put hashtags into old posts and still achieve value for this?
Okay, go back in and put the hashtag into. Generally not really. It's usually the hashtags usually are within the sort of first 15 minutes kind of thing. So I wouldn't bother with that. I think it would be much more beneficial to you to start with that from today onwards, and just make sure if you have, so by having your content pillars, 5 to 7 content pillars, so your 5 subjects if you like, you can then create 5 to 7 hashtag sets, and then you can rinse and repeat. So you can you still need to change them, because obviously you need to think about the way you're presenting the information and so forth. But you can actually save those hashtag sets on your phone, which is another way you can create a shortcut to make it quicker for you. But yeah, I would say I wouldn't bother going back on old posts. I would just start from today onwards.
Lovely, thank you. Nikki has said, do you mean to put hashtags at the beginning of the post rather than at the end?
No, so basically you have your image, and then you have your caption, so where you normally would write something about the image. Then very often you'll see comments underneath. So that's where people normally interact with you. So your first comment, the little speech bubble, if you click on it, you then copy and paste your hashtags into that. So your hashtag will be within the first comment. If you need me to show you, again, I can share my screen with you at some point and show you. That's not a problem at all. But yeah, it's basically, it's not within the caption, it's within the first comment.
Thank you. Ellie has just put, we've planned out our weekly social media posts and she can't wait to start posting Wacky Wednesday.
Oh, I like the sound of Wacky Wednesday. That sounds like fun.
She's also said that Tier 1 has just created an Instagram page and we only set it up yesterday. What is the best way to create exposure to get our followers on other profiles to follow us on Instagram?
So that really comes back to engagement. There's several things. One, obviously, is making sure that your bio is optimized, and everything that we kind of covered today will help you. The other thing I would say is, given the fact that you're obviously in IT, I would think about maybe speaking to Tara about creating some graphics for you, and actually planning your content is the first thing you need to do, and that's a fantastic place to start. So think about, don't post every day, post every other day. Obviously once you've got to 100 followers you can tap into the insights, which will really help you, but have a consistent theme. So obviously you're doing the Wacky Wednesday, so that's really, really good. Have the highlights across the top. Make sure that the branding on your highlights and obviously the graphics you use all ties in together so it looks nice and professional and clear. But the best thing to do is share content that people can relate to, ask questions, have a call to action at the end of any post. Now, a lot of people hate asking questions, but it's a really good way to encourage conversation. If somebody comments on your post, answer acknowledge it, but actually ask them a question. So if I just say, great post, Tara, you can say, thank you, I hope you're having a good day, are you up to much today? And then that strikes up a conversation and it comes across as authentic because you're taking an interest in them. Ask them about their business, ask them if there's anything you can help them with. If they say that they can relate to a post and it resonates with them, ask them what it is about that post that resonates with them, because again, that can help you to produce content going forward. Go on with your hashtags within the first 15 minutes, pick a couple of hashtags out of your set, click on them, go on, there'll be a top and a recent option, click on recent and just go and leave a couple of genuine comments on a few accounts within the recent post. And the other thing is obviously think about where your target audience is based. So if it's in Guildford, go to the search bar, put in Guildford and go and comment on a couple of posts that you feel are relevant to you. So it's all really about engagement, sharing content that people can relate to. And a really important one right now, go on video. So do live streams, do, behind the scenes, share content that's relatable. Consider looking at IGTV. There's loads of other things you could do, but that's sort of just the tip of the iceberg for you.
Lovely, thank you. Question from...
Just probably chance for another 2 questions, just looking at the time. I don't want to run over because I know people go back to back on meetings. So just another 2 questions and then we will make note of the rest of the questions. We'll wrap up and then any that haven't been answered, we'll do maybe a Q&A or something like that separately.
Okay, so Rachel's asked, how do I delete an old business account?
Okay, so bear with me 1 second.
Do you think that one might be worth doing offline?
Yeah, I just looking at it, I can help you do that. That's not a problem at all. But that might be quite a lengthy one to go through. And it would be easier for me to share my screen with her. But Rachel, if you want me to cover that with you, that's not a problem at all. I can do that.
Yeah, I want to do a discovery call with you anyway, so maybe
no,
we can
that's
do it
fine.
later.
We can cover it in that if you want.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so Rachel, I'll get Emma to answer your other question that you just popped in at the same time that you two link up. So just one more. What is covered in the Instagram ebook? Asked Nikki.
Okay, so it's personalised to you. So it will cover the apps that can help you. It will cover the sort of hashtags that you need to use. So not what everybody else is using, what you need to use. It will explain about the hashtag sizes. God, there's loads. It will tell you how to optimize your bio, but it will be tailored to you. So I will actually give you examples of what you need to put in the bio for yourself. So it's very much for you. It's not something that somebody else could pick up and use. But if you want, leave me your email and I can always send you an email and kind of list all the points, and then you can have a think about it if that's something you're interested in.
Sounds amazing.
Okay, that's lovely. I'm going to mute myself because my husband's hoovering, which isn't helpful. But that is all the questions that you've requested. Just a couple more, which I'll share with you after, and Tara and Emma will get back to those relevant ones. Thank you.
Amazing. So yes, we'll capture all of those, make sure we come back to you on that. Just to reiterate, the two different offers that myself and Emma put out will be in the follow-up email that we're going to send out straight after this. There'll also be a link for a feedback form. If you could spend a couple of minutes filling that out, we'd really, really appreciate that. It will give you the chance to give us any feedback. It will also any further support that you would potentially require. So I've already made a note just on some of the questions that have been made today. So almost like if Emma was to do a hashtag webinar, I think that would be extremely helpful. Maybe like a content strategy webinar for what to post on social media, things like that. So if you've got any ideas yourself on anything that we've gone over you'd love to find out more about and maybe a further support, please also add that in the feedback questionnaire. And then there'll be actions for you to follow out as well. And overall, it would be amazing if you could connect with both myself and Emma on Instagram, and we'd love to continue engaging with you and help further your Instagram journey. And there was one last thing which my mind has gone blank on. So this will be saved. If you needed to recap, we'll send this out to you as well. And I'm wondering, Emma, whether maybe we talk about this offline, but do a live Q&A potentially at some point as well on Facebook or Instagram or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I'd love to do that. It's been really good fun.
But overall, hopefully that's been really helpful for everybody, and like I said, love your feedback, and hopefully you've got a couple of takeaways from today that you can then use and start using and actioning from today. And I hope you all have a great rest of the day and a great week.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. I'll message you, Emma, about a discovery call.
No problem.
All right,
Thanks,
see you
guys.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Karen.